There is a car sitting in Matt Armstrong's garage in Leicester that Ferrari desperately wishes didn't exist. Not because it's ugly, not because it's broken, but because of what it represents and because of what it took to get it running. Matt Armstrong is a Leicester-based automotive YouTuber with nearly 3 million subscribers. He has rebuilt written-off Lamborghinis, resurrected a totaled Porsche GT3 RS, and once hauled an Aston Martin DBX out of a literal river. Impossible builds are his brand. But the Ferrari 296 GTB was unlike anything he had touched before. The story begins in Cyprus, where a Ferrari 296 GTB was shipped and promptly destroyed. An overconfident owner disabled the driver aids on an open road, lost control, and hit something hard. The suspension was torn out, the floor pierced, the wiring shredded. The local Ferrari dealership examined the wreck, quoted an astronomical repair figure, and delivered their verdict. This car cannot be saved. Matt Armstrong heard the word impossible and thought, perfect. He purchased the crash-damaged 296 GTB and got to work. He sourced second-hand body panels, welded them in, laid down fresh paint, and fitted a wild rear wing and full-body kit. The transformation was remarkable. At first glance, the car looked like it belonged on a racing circuit rather than a salvage yard. But none of it mattered, because the engine wouldn't fire. The 296 GTB is Ferrari's hybrid supercar, a twin-turbocharged 3.0-liter V6 paired with an electric motor producing a combined 830 horsepower. It is a technological masterpiece. It is also, and this is where Matt's nightmare truly began, a locked box. The hybrid battery management system had gone into a fault state after the crash, and it was the kind of fault you cannot diagnose with an OBD scanner and a YouTube tutorial. Only Ferrari could address it. And Ferrari, as it turned out, had no interest in doing that. When Matt called Ferrari for help, the message was unambiguous. The repair work hadn't been carried out by an authorized technician. The car had been modified outside their certified network. And because of that, they wouldn't intervene. Think about what that means. Matt Armstrong had spent months and significant money transforming a pile of wreckage into something that genuinely looked like a race car, work that Ferrari's own dealer had declared impossible. And Ferrari's response was that the effort didn't count because it hadn't been done by them. Determined to find another way, Matt made one of the most expensive decisions of the entire build. He spent $20,000 on a brand new battery system. It made zero difference. $20,000 gone, and the car still wouldn't start. So he tried something bolder. He ordered genuine 296 challenge parts, factory-supplied racing components used in Ferrari's own competition program, with the goal of converting his hybrid road car into a full race configuration. Some components arrived without issue. Then Ferrari blocked further orders. A representative told him the company needed to ensure every part it produced went to the correct vehicle. The challenge kit conversion also revealed a significant technical complication. The front bumper couldn't accommodate the standard radiators due to differences in how the Challenge's cooling system is designed. Matt had to fabricate custom solutions for the radiators, exhaust, and aerodynamics. He was building something that, technically speaking, had never existed before, a 296 GTB road car wearing full Challenge race bodywork, with the hybrid system intact. What sat in his garage after all of that work was genuinely one of a kind. The only problem was that a line of code was still telling it not to start. To understand Ferrari's behavior, you have to understand what Ferrari actually is. Because Ferrari is not, in any meaningful sense, just a car company. The Ferrari blacklist is an informal but very real policy. Owners who modify their cars without authorization, attempt to resell them too quickly, behave in ways Ferrari considers inconsistent with its brand image, or publicly criticize the company can find themselves restricted from future purchases or banned entirely. Justin Bieber had his 458 Italia illegally modified and attempted to sell it at a charity auction. Ferrari blacklisted him. Chris Harris, the automotive journalist, was banned from driving Ferraris after writing a critical piece about the company's media loan program. A journalist, blacklisted for writing the truth. Ferrari CEO Benedetto Vigna has publicly stated that the company is considering predefining acceptable color combinations for customer vehicles to protect brand integrity. This is a company that has openly discussed restricting what color you are allowed to paint a car you already own. The pattern is consistent. Ferrari does not sell you a car and walk away. Ferrari sells you a relationship with Ferrari. And Ferrari reserves the right to end that relationship at any time, for any reason. For Matt, the consequences of that philosophy were concrete. The software locks preventing his car from starting were not simply a security measure. They were an expression of a design principle. Ferrari's hybrid architecture is built on the assumption that Ferrari will always be in the loop, that every car will pass through an authorized dealer, that every owner's experience of the machine will be mediated by Ferrari's network. The moment that assumption breaks, through a major crash, an independent rebuild, modifications made outside the certified system, the car doesn't just lose support. It actively refuses to function. That is not a bug. That is a feature. While Matt was working through every available option, something was happening off camera. People within Ferrari's own technical world had been watching his videos. And they were having their own conversations about software locks, about customer rights, about what it means when a manufacturer's proprietary code can override an owner's legal possession of their own vehicle. One of those people decided he had seen enough. He had spent years working within Ferrari's authorized engineering network. He understood the hybrid architecture that had been defeating Matt for months. The ECU systems, the battery management protocols, the precise software conditions that were keeping the car switched off. He had watched, episode by episode, as a man with no formal training and no manufacturer support had come further than Ferrari's own dealer said was possible. He quit. And he came to Matt. What he brought wasn't just technical knowledge, though that was significant. What he brought was a clear account of how Ferrari's systems are actually designed to work, and who they are designed to work for. The software locks on Matt's car were not an accident of the rebuild process. They were the system functioning exactly as intended, in a scenario where Ferrari had decided the car fell outside the boundaries of acceptable ownership. This is not unique to Matt Armstrong's 296. Every modern Ferrari hybrid operates this way. The SF90, the 296 GTB, the LaFerrari, every one of these cars carries within it the assumption of Ferrari's permanent involvement. You do not simply buy a Ferrari. You buy a conditional relationship with Ferrari. And the condition is compliance. Matt's last move was a direct email, not to a dealer, not through the parts department, but to Ferrari the manufacturer. He was straightforward about his situation and what he needed. Ferrari responded. They agreed to intervene, with one condition: the car had to be complete before entering their network. After months of silence, after $20,000 burned on a battery that changed nothing, after blocked parts orders and refused phone calls and every door slammed shut, Ferrari blinked. The car was taken in, the software issue was resolved, and the engine finally started. What Matt Armstrong ended up with was the only 296 Challenge GTB in existence. A road-legal Ferrari wearing full Challenge race bodywork with the hybrid system intact. A car Ferrari never built and never would have built, assembled by hand in a garage in Leicester. You may never own a Ferrari, but if you own a car built after 2015, there is a very good chance it contains proprietary software that you cannot access, cannot reset, and cannot override without the manufacturer's permission. This is not a supercar problem. It is a car problem, and it is going to affect every driver as the industry moves deeper into electrification and software-defined vehicles. Matt Armstrong stumbled into one of the most important fights in the modern automotive world simply by being too stubborn to give up on a crashed car. He made the right to repair tangible, not as a legal argument or a policy document, but as a man in a garage, on camera, being told by a multi-billion-pound brand that his car was not permitted to function. The engineer who walked away from Ferrari's network and brought that knowledge to Matt's garage tells you something important. Not everyone who built these systems agrees with what those systems are being used to do. Matt Armstrong pushed back. Eventually, Ferrari flinched. The question now is whether the industry learned anything from that, or whether it's already looking for ways to make sure it doesn't happen again.